Hey everyone, welcome back. Hope you guys are having a great Monday. So we got a lot on the docket today to talk about. There's a lot of news going on. So here's what we got going on. We got obviously the markets to talk about. Well, the general markets were up today. Bitcoin's down a little bit. Ethereum was down a little bit more today. Miners were mixed today, so we got that going on for us. Then we got to talk about digital asset outflows continue for the 6th week despite Bitcoin price surge. We got also investors are sheltering in short-term treasuries, reducing Bitcoin's chances of rallying to 30,000. We got Florida's Governor Ron Desantis proposes law to ban CBDCs. This is actually pretty interesting. And we got Cipher announces leadership team promotions. We got quite a few of those going on today. Terawulf also announces it has deployed Bitmain miners at the nuclear-powered Nautilus facility. We got Soluna appoints John, I can't pronounce his last name, I'm sorry, as CEO. We got Stronghold, also digital mining is going to set their fourth quarter results for 2022. Also, that's scheduled for March 29th. We will take a look at that really quick as well. And then we got Hive files a preliminary base shelf prospectus to replace expiring base shelf prospectus and provides a corporate update. So we'll take a look at all that we got going on. And as always, you guys know the drill here. This is not financial advice for entertainment only. Do your own research. I'm invested in following coins and companies for full disclosure. And if you like this type of content, hit the like button, subscribe. Helps me out tremendously. All right, so let's get into the markets here really quick. So S&P was up today a little bit, up 0.89% to 3,951. Dow Jones was up 1.2% to 32,244. NASDAQ was up 0.34% to 12,562. And Bitcoin's actually down a little bit here, down 0.76 right now on the day as we're looking at it. We're looking at the 1 hour chart right now. We can see here that it tried to get above, well, get close to our resistance line, which is at 28,600 roughly. And that's going to be our resistance going forward here. We'll see how that plays out. But you can see here we came pretty close yesterday on it. We came pretty close on it again today. We couldn't get above it. Price has fallen down a little bit here on it. RSI is still looking pretty good. We are going kind of sideways here a little bit, but we'll see how the week ends up. We do have the Fed FOMC meeting tomorrow and Wednesday. We'll see what the rate hike is going to be, whether it's going to be 25 basis points or 50 basis points. Most people are leaning towards 25 basis points, but it'd be great if they didn't raise anything, but we'll see. Okay, on the 4 hour chart, we can see that the RSI has been coming down while price has been going up. That's still a good sign there. I'm still not seeing any reversal pattern here. So we'll see how this is going to play out as well. And the same thing on the 1 hour chart. We're seeing obviously that the RSI has been coming down from here, at least this is from yesterday at about, what is that, 1 o'clock in the afternoon or so. And it has been coming down a little bit here along with the RSI. So I think we're still good there as well. Okay, now when we look at Ethereum here, Ethereum is down 2.7% right now to 1,738. We can see that the price of Ethereum has actually been coming down more so. If you look at the bottom RSI here on the 1 hour chart, you can see it's at 36. Back here, price at that point was higher. We are lower on it, so we are seeing a little bit of a reversal happening in Ethereum. We'll see if we get the same thing happening in Bitcoin here in maybe the next half a day or a day to see if that happens. If that does happen, then we're possibly going down to our support line in Bitcoin as well. Okay. Other thing is the CME futures here on Bitcoin right now. I have currently 2 lines that are kind of showing us potential gaps here. We have a slight gap here between roughly 27,160 and 27,300 roughly. We also have this little gap here. I don't know if this one has to get filled or not. We did backfill from our previous gap that we had over here, but we do have a new gap that created over the weekend. This was last weekend, well, prior weekend. So we had this weekend prior. So 2 weekends ago, basically, we did have a gap here that was created as well that I noticed just today. Okay, so we got to be mindful of that. We might be coming down. Well, if we do come down, it's going to be about $8,000 if we come down to fill this gap. But we'll see if that happens. Okay, so that's it for the miners, or for the stocks and the Bitcoin and Ethereum. Let's take a look at the miners here. They were a little bit mixed today. Any was down today 2.46% to 32 cents. Argo was up 4.76% to $1.76. Bit Digital was up 2.36% to $1.30. Bitfarms was up 3.42% to 91 cents. A lot of these miners were up a lot higher in the morning hours, but then prices started coming down later on. Cipher was down 8.19% on the day to $2.13. I did say in yesterday's video, seeing how Cipher has kind of went up pretty high, pretty fast last week, I said we might see a little bit of a sell-off coming in this week, and sure enough, we did have it a little bit. CleanSpark was up 5.71% to $2.59. Cores was up or down 4.08% to 35 cents. DigiHost was down 1.84 to $1.60. DMG was up 4.27 to 23 cents. Greenidge was down 4.02% to 43 cents. Hive was down 1.64% to $3. Hot 8 was down 2.13% to $1.84. Iris Energy was up 1.34 to $3.02. Marathon was down 3.92% to $7.85. Mawson was up nicely today, 13.4% to $2.75. Riot was up 5.56% to $8.55, and Soluna was up 0.56% to 27 cents, and Stronghold was up 12.6% to 56 cents. Nice day for them. Wolf was up 5% to 63 cents. Okay, so that's everybody there. Let's get into the news that we do have here, and then we'll call it a day. So if we go over here to our first story, which is on digital asset outflows, continue for the 6th week despite Bitcoin price surge. So this is actually kind of interesting as well. The data may reflect investors' need for liquidity during the banking crisis, a CoinShare report says. And here's a report that you can see here, the graph on it. You can see that we've had 6 weeks of outflows in cryptos. And that's actually kind of strange considering that we've had 6 weeks of outflows, but still the price of Bitcoin has been going up. So there's definitely more demand for it than there is people taking it out, which is kind of good to see. So despite Bitcoin's price surging, let's see if I can bring this up. Despite Bitcoin's price surging, digital asset investments products totaled net outflows for a 6th consecutive week last week, a report by CoinShare shows. Digital asset net outflows totaled 95 million for the week ending March 17th. Outflows in digital asset investment products for the last 6 weeks totaled 424 million, the Digital Asset Investment Group found. And then over here, we got Bitcoin, Ethereum. Let me see if I can zoom this out. There we go. Bitcoin, Ethereum, multi-assets outflow totaled combined 130 million, although Bitcoin also had 35 million in inflows. Those inflows were short Bitcoin, meaning that investors were betting on Bitcoin's price falling. Bitcoin has come up quite a bit here recently. I'm not surprised that people are thinking it's going to come back down in price a little bit. Overall, the data may reflect a need for liquidity among investors, according to CoinShares. Meanwhile, the largest cryptocurrency by market value price has surged from a low of 19,400 in early March to its current level near 28,000. Over the past week, Bitcoin has risen 15%. So that's why we're possibly seeing that short interest a little bit more going up. It is evident that this sentiment is contrarian relative to the rest of the crypto market. The CoinShares report said it may be driven in part by the need for liquidity during this banking crisis. A similar situation happened when we had the pandemic, which first hit in March of 2020 as well. Okay, so something to be mindful of. It doesn't look like there's much going on here, but we do have people obviously taking money out for liquidity reasons, things like that. But still, Bitcoin price has been going up, so I think that's a good sign there. Okay, next. Investors shelter in short-term treasury, reducing Bitcoin's chance of rallying to 30,000. We do have that resistance at 28,300, something over 600. So that's going to be playing into it as well. I think I'm guessing we may have to come down a little price a little bit for a break and a spike, and then continue going back up, but we'll see. Here's what it has to say. So Bitcoin price finally broke through the 28,000 mark, but BTC futures and options data suggests some traders are uneasy about the strength of recent bullish momentum. And looking beyond Bitcoin's stellar performance, there are reasons investors are not fully confident in the future further price upside. The recent rescue of Credit Suisse, a 167-year-old lending Swiss financial institution, is proof that the current global banking crisis might not be over, right? There's still a lot of fear out there in the banking sector that there might be, well, I think the latest I read was like 168 banks could still be in trouble, but we'll see how that's going to play out. Okay, down here, let's see here, where was it? Here it is. Bitcoin derivatives exhibit a balanced demand for long and short positions. So Bitcoin quarterly futures are popular among whales and arbitrage desks, which typically trade at a slight premium to spot markets, indicating that sellers are asking for more money to delay settlement for a longer period. As a result, future contracts in healthy markets should trade at 5 to 10% annualized premium, a situation known as contango, which is not unique to the crypto markets, I guess. I'm not into futures, so this is I'm learning with you guys as well. Since March 15th, the BTC futures premium indicator has remained unchanged at 2.2%, indicating no additional demand for leveraged buying activity. Numbers below 5% indicate pessimism, which is not what one would anticipate after price gains of 36% in 8 days, right? So that's kind of strange. But there is still, I guess, some pessimism in the futures market that Bitcoin possibly is a little overbought right now, possibly. It might come down a little bit, right? So we'll see how that's going to play out. And ultimately, the professional Bitcoin traders are not bullish above 26,000. This is not necessarily a bad thing, but unless crypto investors regain confidence, the chances of cryptocurrencies surpassing 30,000 remain extremely remote. A complete breakdown of the banking system would cause investors to flee to safety rather than seek out risk. and Bitcoin is a risk-on asset, as we know. So that we got to take that into account as well, right? We might be in this kind of range where we're going to be bouncing between 20 or 30,000 here for the next couple of months until we get some news happening where either the Fed stops raising interest rates or something like that, and then we might finally continue going up further, okay? Something to be mindful of. Next is Florida Governor Ron DeSantis proposes a law to ban CBDCs. So CBDCs are central bank digital currencies. The Biden administration is also studying the possibility of introducing a central bank digital currency. So instead of having cash, you would have a CBDC, right? There are some good things, and there are obviously a lot of bad things as well with those. So a legislative proposal from Florida governor and possible Republican U.S. presidential candidate, Ron DeSantis, would prohibit the use of national central bank digital currency, CBDC, as money within the state. Today's announcement will protect Florida consumers and businesses from the reckless adoption of centralized digital dollar, which will stifle innovation and promote government-sanctioned surveillance, DeSantis said in a press release. We can also look back at kind of what happened with Canada and the protests that we had with the truck drivers and all that. Remember, at that point, I mean, they were camped out for quite a long time. At the end of it all, I think the government at that point started seizing, or not seizing, but I think they were blocking the bank accounts of individuals, right? So they couldn't be drawing their money from that. They basically had to, in order for them to vacate, I guess is what I'm trying to say, from the protests, right? So that's a concern there that we have with something like this. I mean, if they did it with the banking system, that's why it's also in a bigger issue than just the banking system, but you also have the CBDCs as well. That could really make it a lot easier for them, I guess, to do it instead of getting court orders and things like that. Okay, so that's something there. And yeah, I think I'll leave it there for now. Okay, so that's one of the things here. The proposed law would also prohibit in Florida the use of CBDC issued by any overseas central bank. The governor's statement calls on other states to adopt similar legislation, which would be kind of cool. And I think, because right now, I mean, you can use your currency, things like that, cash, whatever, and it's pretty anonymous for the most part, right? I mean, except for the person that you're interacting with. But other than that, the government really doesn't know where you're spending that cash on and what for. Okay, in addition to privacy concerns, DeSantis said a federal CBDC would diminish the role of community banks and credit unions, which is also true there, because why would you need banks if your money's locked up with the government anyways, right? Okay, so that's kind of interesting. And if anything, this will actually, if we don't get CBDCs, or there's if there's a lot of states that ban it, this is actually really bullish for Bitcoin and other possible coins as well, where they're decentralized, the government has no control over them, things like that. So that's kind of a good thing, I think. Okay, let me know what you guys think. All right, next, onto the mining stories. So Cipher Mining announces leadership team promotions. This is pretty standard here, but we do have the following announcement. So today announced that Patrick Kelly and Will Iwashuk have been promoted to co-president, and that Olivia Stennett has been promoted to chief administrative officer. So that's fine there. So they are doing some promotions within the company. And we do have a little information on all these people here. So Mr. Kelly is also Cipher's chief operating officer and will continue in that role. In addition to being a co-president prior to joining Cipher, Mr. Kelly was a co-founder and chief operating officer at Stone Ridge Asset Management, chief operating officer at Quantitative Strategies at Magnetar Capital, and head of portfolio valuation at D.E. Shaw & Company. Mr. Kelly is a chartered financial analyst and received his B.S. in finance from DePaul University. So we do have a lot of people that are from the traditional banking system or investment side of things, which is kind of interesting, especially with a Bitcoin mining company where it's more technology driven and things like that. But I guess having a banking background or investing background is a good thing as well. Next is Mr. Iwashchuk. Is also Cipher's chief legal officer and corporate secretary and will continue in those roles. In addition to being co-president prior to Cipher, Mr. Iwashchuk was a partner, general counsel, and secretary at Tower Research Capital, a partner investment management group at Morgan and Lewis and Bukais, LLP, and spent the early years of his career at Goldman Sachs and Company and Davis Polk and Wardwell, LLP. Mr. Iwashchuk received his LLB and BA degrees from University of British Columbia. So again, more people that were in the investment side of business of things. And then finally, before her promotion, Ms. Stennett was Cipher's head of project management. Prior to Cipher, she was an executive director at Morgan Stanley in their equity prime brokerage group. Before Morgan Stanley, Ms. Stennett held several leadership roles at Deutsche Bank's Global Prime Finance Group, leveraging significant legal, credit documentation, and operational experience to drive client solutions and enhance operational efficiencies. She began her career at Lehman Brothers. Lehman Brothers went under. She received a BA in Business Administration from Iona College. So a lot of people from the banking, finance, and, Lehman Brothers and things like that. So kind of interesting there, all right? I don't know if it's good or if it's bad, but obviously they see this as a good, so we'll go with that. And we'll see how it goes, how it works out in the future for them. Okay, next is going to be Terawulf. So Terawulf announces it has deployed Bitmain miners at the nuclear-powered Nautilus facility. This is great news. We've been waiting on this for quite a while for Terawulf to do this. And here's what we have as far as information. So the Nautilus facility represents the first behind-the-meter Bitcoin mining facility of its kind, directly sourcing reliable, carbon-free 24/7 baseload power from the 2.5 gigawatt Susquehanna nuclear generation station in Pennsylvania. Terawulf recently commenced mining operations at Nautilus and expects its full share in phase 1 of the facility, 50 megawatts and 1.9 exahash, to be online by May. So we're only a couple months away from that, which is great. The company has the option to add an additional 50 megawatts of Bitcoin mining capacity at the Nautilus facility for a total of 100 megawatts, which Terawulf plans to deploy in future phases. So no details on that yet, but that would get them to about 3.8, depending on which miners they put in there. So that's actually pretty good as well. Next here is Nautilus's uninterrupted fixed 2 cents nuclear power to deliver maximum margins all hours of the year. So that's great. The company is deploying a combination of Bitmain miners, including their S19 XP Pro miners, which have a processing power of 140 terahashes per second and an energy consumption of 3 kilowatts for an energy rate of 21.5 joules per terahash. Those are right now one of the best miners, but they're also a lot more expensive than some of the other miners, which are also, the ROI on these is a little bit longer than some of the other ones, as well as the S19 Pros and the S19 Pro miners, which have a processing power of 100 terahash and energy consumption of approximately 3 kilowatts for an energy efficiency rate of 30 joules per terahash. Here's a quote from the CEO. Let me see here. Paul, Chairman and CEO, Terawulf said, "I am very pleased to note that roughly 8,000 Bitmain miners energized thus far at Nautilus have been stable and operating efficiently," so that's good there. In addition to ramping its 50 megawatt stake in the Nautilus facility, Terawulf is currently expanding mining operations at its wholly owned Lake Mariner facility in New York, with additional Building 2, which is expected to increase the facility's operational capacity from 60 megawatts to 110 megawatts. Across its 2 sites, the company expects to have a total operational capacity of 50,000 miners, 5.5 exahash in early Q2 2023, representing approximately 160 megawatts of mining infrastructure. So that's great there. Definitely need the growth here for them, since they've been kind of in a financial trouble for one. The other thing is New York, as we know, is kind of an iffy state to do business in mining. They are kind of cracking down some of the miners there, which isn't good. So we'll see if they're able to play nice with New York regulators and everything else in that state, or if they're going to run into problems in there. Okay. I think that was it in here. Yep, that was it. So great to see Terawulf actually getting the miners in and growing their business. So this is good. Next is Soluna Holdings appoints John, I'm not going to be able to pronounce his name, Belizaire, I think it's how you pronounce it, as CEO. So announced today that John Belizaire will be promoted to CEO of Soluna Holdings, Inc., in addition to his role as CEO of Soluna Computing, Inc. Belizaire is one of the founders of Soluna Computing, Inc. prior to his acquisition by Mechanical Technology, Inc., MTI, and will succeed Michael Toporek as CEO of Soluna Holdings. So Toporek is out of that position right now. They've had some issues, obviously, and they are kind of restructuring a little bit here right now. We'll see if Belizaire is going to be able to perform any better on this. So in this transition, Toporek will become executive chairman of the board of directors, succeeding William Fellon, who will become lead independent director of the company. And I think that's all that we have here. Yeah. We do have some information as far as how long they've worked together and things like that, which we really don't care. But we really need them to do a lot better going forward. From my memory here, I'm not looking at my sheet here right now, but from my memory, I believe they had some of the older miners still in place at a lot of the facilities that they had, but they did have really good price for electricity, which kind of helped offset that. The other issue that came up with them is, unfortunately, they stopped providing their monthly updates for production, which is kind of unfortunate. So we know whenever companies stop doing that, it almost seems like they're in trouble, right? We've seen this with Other companies that have been in trouble as well, they kind of stopped doing that. We've seen it with Stronghold. We've seen it with some other ones as well that are kind of now in the doghouse for me until they start reporting that information. So we'll see how that goes. Okay, but we'll see how he does going forward. So there's a little shake up there going on right now. Next is Stronghold Digital Mining. So this is going to be a quick one. Stronghold Digital Mining sets fourth quarter and full year 2022 earnings conference call for Wednesday, March 29th. They are going to release the information here in the morning. So Stronghold will host a conference call on Wednesday, March 29th, Eastern Time at 11 a.m. to discuss its operations and financial results for the fourth quarter and full year 2022. A press release detailing these results will be issued before the market opens on the same day. So we'll get that next week. So it's kind of interesting to see how that's going to play out. They had a rough third and fourth quarter, I think. They gave back a lot of machines during that time where their machines were in default on the loans and things like that. We'll see how they actually came out of it, see how they're doing on the books. We'll take a look at it when it does come out. Okay, and finally, last but not least, we got Hive files preliminary base shelf prospectus to replace expiring base shelf prospectus and provides corporate update. The corporate update is actually pretty quick, but here we have the information on them. So Hive today announced that in order to replace its prior base shelf of prospectus and corresponding shelf registration statement that expired on February 27, 2023, it has filed a preliminary short form base shelf prospectus. Once filed in final form and received by relevant Canadian securities regulatory authorities, the shelf prospectus with the Securities Commission in each of the provinces and territories of Canada. Simultaneously, Hive terminated a corresponding shelf registration statement on Form F10 with the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission under the U.S.-Canada Multi-Jurisdiction Disclosure System. The shelf prospectus, when made final or effective, will allow Hive to offer up to 100 million of common shares, preferred shares, subscription receipts, warrants, options, or any combination thereof during the 25-month period that the shelf prospectus will be effective. So they could dilute $100 million worth of shares. Right now, the stock prices are around, $3, something like that. So you're looking at possibly 33 million shares if they did it right now, right after the bat. If the price goes up higher on the shares, on the share price, they could dilute less. But nonetheless, investors are going to see this again, and they are not going to like that, I'm sure. We've seen this with other companies when they do this kind of type of thing, whether it's the ATMs or anything else like that. Investors typically don't like this, so we'll see how the shares of Hive are going to do going forward here when this does come out. Okay, the shelf prospectus will enable Hive to potentially assess new capital if and when needed. The amount and timing of any future offerings will be based on the company's financial requirements and market conditions at the time. Now, we do know that they have to grow. They have been kind of growing slowly here over the past 6-12 months, ever since Ethereum also went to proof of stake for them. That cost them quite a bit. They didn't expect it to happen that quickly. So they do have to kind of speed up their Bitcoin production or Bitcoin mining investments in machines and things like that to get back to where they were pre-Ethereum proof of stake transition. Okay, that's kind of what I'm trying to say here. Okay, so a lot of new stories out today, obviously, which is kind of nice to see things are happening. Got a lot of shakeups in management, things like that. Oh, we also have one little story here on company announcement. So if we go here, the company also announces the retirement and resignation as a director of Ian Mann. Frank Holmes, executive chairman of the company, said, on behalf of the board, we thank Ian for his contributions to the company and we wish him the very best in retirement. So another little shakeup there going on as well. So we got a lot going on in that stuff. And we'll see how tomorrow is. So like I said, tomorrow the FOMC is meeting as well, along with Wednesday. We'll see what kind of rate hikes we get for that. I'm hoping for 25 basis points or nothing at all. Based on just everything that's going on in the banking system, I wouldn't be surprised if they just say that's positive for a while, right? The inflation data has been coming down, right, every month for the past 8 months. This is just me personally, seeing that and seeing what's going on with the banking system and everything else, I would pause it. I would just say pause it. Let's see where we are in a month, 2. Then if inflation starts going back up, I would at that point, raise 25 basis points and see where things go. But they definitely raised the interest rates too fast, too much, and too short of a period of time. And now we're seeing things break in the industry a little bit, okay? So that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, hit the like button, subscribe. Helps me out tremendously. And I hope you guys have a great night. I'll see you guys in the next one.